Okay, this is Ringwalk Media with association with Well Eye Therapy, Steel Hub Management and Barclay Carter Racing. Mr. Frank Smith, he's very good form today. He's got busting some good dance moves, mate.
They weren't good. If you can't dance, they look good, but I don't think I've got any rhythm.
I definitely can't dance. They looked all right to me.
No, I actually got banned from it. So I went to a big wedding the other day, and they did like a dance, and it was a couples dance, and my missus banned me from the couples dance because she said my timing was all over the place, and I was like, I'm not Michael Flatley, with all due respect. So
you look like Michael Flatley in all that black today.
It was slimming, isn't it?
Yeah, I should take a leaf out of your book, shouldn't I?
You are wearing all black.
No, I've got blue on, to be fair.
All the same. Black, blue, it's all the same.
Well, listen, let's talk boxing, and a Next Gen week, always a really good fight card, and this week no different.
A great card here in Liverpool. Look, we had a bit of a nightmare with this date, really, when you think about it. It was supposed to be Taylor Catterall tonight, but not tonight, on Saturday. Originally, though, we were doing a Next Gen show in Liverpool, got moved to that, then moved back here. So I'm just glad we can get the card on and keep all these fighters active. But a stacked card from top to bottom. Peter McGrail back out, after a hard... Look, it's been a hard time for him, obviously, following that Jericho Quinn defeat. We were supposed to do the rematch. Unfortunately, O'Quinn had to pull out, and we wish him all the best with everything. But a good fight against Mark Leach here. I think it's a really good fight for him, and a fight people can get interested in as well. Two Brits going together as well. Bia Ferreira challenges for her first world title on Saturday night. She's got a huge opportunity there to go and, make some history as well, and also become an Olympic champion not long after in Paris. She'll be going for gold there in July. We got Junaid Boston's back out. Junaid obviously he had a tough test in the US in December as well, but the kind of fight he needs and the experience he needs if he's going to go where we believe he can go. And that's what we need to do with our fighters. We need to set them up so once they do step up, they're ready for those step ups. And that fight Junaid had last time, and the fight he's got against Jack Martin this weekend as well, it's gonna test him. But it's good to see that he wants to take those tests. Joe McGrail, Peter's brother, who boxed on our show in December, he looked spectacular there, and we obviously made that decision to sign him from there, and a great signing. Another great fighter to add to the stable. Steve Clark, who boxed a few weeks ago, massive ticket seller, obviously from Liverpool. He's back out as well. Maisie Rose is on the card. Frankie Stringer, who Liam Smith manages, and Hamza Udin, who's a professional debut. So a great card top to bottom, and we say it every time, but exactly what these Next Gen shows are all about.
You mentioned Junaid Bostan there. You're absolutely right. He needs that sort of that step up. And he's got more rounds again. I think he's doing 10 rounds.
Yeah, first 10 rounder this time. And it's the experience he needs because he wants to move quickly.
And Peter McGrail, I think he's doing 8. Is he doing 8 or 10? He's stepping up as well.
Peter's doing 10. Joe McGrail's doing 8. I think. Yeah, 8 on this card. Yeah.
And Mark Leach, of course, he's a dangerous character. He bent all the way with Liam Davies, didn't he, not so long ago? And that was a tough fight.
Awkward as well. Awkward. And but look, we believe Peter McGrail. Look, it was a hard loss for him to take that night, but he's got so much talent. He's just a very talented fighter. And look, he switched off. He was winning every second, of that fight, every round. But he switched off, and that's what happens in boxing. But a loss doesn't define you. He's got to come back from here and build back, and still big nights to be done, delivered for Peter.
Steve Clark, you mentioned there. He sells a lot of tickets, but he's very sort of quietly creeping up. He's doing very well in his sort of first proper season, I guess, as a professional, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%. Look, really well, and keeping active as well. Keeping really active. Paul Smith obviously looks after Steve Clark. And that's what you need. You need a manager who's going to keep you out there and keep you busy. He boxed just under 2 weeks ago. It would have been on the April 13th Manchester show. Brings a huge crowd. He obviously had his professional debut in Liverpool back in January on the Tasha Jonas undercard. So, yeah, it's good to see these guys keeping active and, pushing forward with their careers.
Now, Maisie Rose, she's out tonight on Saturday night, which I was a little bit surprised about because obviously she's been mandated to fight Chloe Watson. It's gone to purse bids, I believe.
No, look, it was supposed to be purse bids on Monday, I believe, or Tuesday, but that fight was ordered after we'd already announced this fight, made the fight and everything. We've been dealing with speaking to Nissa Sowland, often trying to get something done. The purse bids have been delayed, so I'm confident we'll get something figured out with Watson. We've got a great relationship, but she's got to focus on Saturday night, and like I say, this fight was in place prior to that fight being ordered.
And it's a brave fight, a big step up for Macy, because Chloe Watson is, she's a champion now. She's obviously been trained by Ricky Hatton. She's got really good stock. It's a tough fight, that one.
Yeah, it is a tough fight. But again, we need fighters to take real fights. And that's a real fight, it's a fight people will be interested in. And it's the right step for her career. But yeah, first things first though, Saturday night.
Well, listen, let's talk about last Saturday night. I mean, Ryan Garcia shocked the world, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Look, no one expected him to do that. But credit to both guys, because both those guys throughout their career have shown that they're willing to take challenges. And, a lot, again, as I said earlier, a loss doesn't define. And it's probably to the detriment of the sport why people get written off so much after a loss. You got two guys there who throughout their career have taken challenges time after time and will continue to do that. And Devin Haney will come back stronger. What he decides to do now, he's probably going to take a little bit of time out, and then be back. And Ryan Garcia, I think, will do the same. But there's massive fights to be made, and it's exciting time for the sport because real fights are getting made.
And one of the biggest sort of talking points that night, apart from the main event, was Sean McComb against Barbosa. I mean, we watched that fight. I had him 10-2. One of the judges scored him 10-2, but the other two didn't. I mean, what's your opinion on that particular result?
I'll be honest with you, I missed the fight. I missed the fight that night. But what I saw, there was a range, wasn't there, of one basically two scorecards, complete polar opposite of each other. It's not good. It's not good for the sport. There needs to be more done in review of these scores. And that's everywhere. That's not just the UK. It's not just individual states. It's all over the place. And I think that's where the sport can be improved. Because this is people's livelihoods. You can change someone's change someone's life in one night. So yeah, I didn't see the fight to have an opinion on the score, but from what I've heard, a lot of people believe Sean McComb clearly won that fight.
Yeah, and I think Lee Eaton's launched an appeal, hasn't he?
Yeah, fair enough. And you should do it, but they need to act on it as well. People need to act on it, and hopefully he gets some kind of fair, opportunity off the back of it because he deserves it.
Well, listen, you left Eddie in New York, and he's been a bit busy, hasn't he? He's announced some absolute storming fights, and first card over in LA as well.
Yeah, look, it's a tremendous card that the Riyadh season team, His Excellency Turki Al Sheikh and Dr. Akan have put together. Bringing together, I think, 12, 13, 14 promoters to put together a spectacular night of boxing in Los Angeles. And great to see fights taking place and shows taking place all over the world. But what a card, My man Israel Madrimov, I say he's one of me and Eddie, I say he's my fighter, to be honest. Not my fighter, but he's my man. Eddie's it's like when I picked Bivol and he had Canelo. But Madrimov's a special fighter, and look, jumping straight in there against pound for pound, maybe number one in the world in Terence Crawford, and respect to that, because he just won his world title. He had 10 fights. You could say just go and take, but he wants to challenge himself, and I think it's going to be a real fight. I think it's going to honestly be a real fight for Terence Crawford on August 3rd. And what a card underneath as well. Pitbull, Isaac Cruz, spectacular fighter. Jarrell Miller, Andy Ruiz, great fight. One thing about Jarrell Miller, he keeps coming. He did in that fight against Daniel Dubois back in December. You got David Morrell on there as well. You got our guy Andy Cruz is on the undercard as well. So just a stacked card from top to bottom, and I can't wait to be there on August 3rd. And again, a spectacular Riyadh season card they've put together.
This is the first Riyadh season card outside of obviously Saudi. Is this going to be maybe setting the tone for perhaps one coming over here in the UK at some point?
I think there's a lot of talk about it. And I think it's great to see the expansion of the Riyadh season. They're doing it across a number of different things, and so yeah, it's great for the sports fans and the fight fans out there, because we're seeing fights we probably wouldn't see as well. It's the other thing. I talk about BIVOL WILL BE UNDISPUTED on June 1st. That is a fight that I think without Riyadh season, without His Excellency, that's a fight that probably we would have struggled to have made. But it's one of the best fights out there, and I can't wait for Dimitri Bivol to become undisputed light heavyweight champion on June 1st.
Well, there's your prediction.
I know, I'm not changing it.
Well, listen, what have you got in your hands? Because you got a drip in your hand, apparently.
It's a can of drip. It's our new water partner. I didn't ask you to. By the way,
You didn't. You've been dancing around like a crazy man this morning. So what's you got in there? And he went, water.
It's natural mineral water, and it's good sustainability. We're changing the planet.
Changing the planet as well.
Not me, drip water. Canned water is changing the planet. Plastic bottles, they're out. They're gone. So we're all about drip, and as it says here, plastic bottles are boring, killing our planet. This can isn't.
There you go.
What a way to end it.
Brilliant end to a brilliant interview.
Don't cut that out.
I'm not going to cut out. Frank, as always, really good to see you, mate.
Good to see you, mate. Look at that. Touch.